Well, in particular, I'm a person who's very passionate about nature from a very early age. And I have decided to study environmental sciences and natural resources management. And I orientated all my professional career to taking care of the environment and, in particular, educating or opening the eyes, let's say, more than educating, the people to take care of the environment where we live. So yes, I basically take action and, well, a bit like you and a bit like many of your followers probably. So yeah, that's how I like to describe me today.
Oh, it's a beautiful way to describe you. And so about biodiversa, biodiversa. How do you spell in Spanish? Like
Biodiversa.
Okay, biodiversa in Portugal. So tell us a little bit more about biodiversa.
Yeah, so okay, Biodiversa is my baby, we can say. I was saying before that I studied environmental sciences. I orientated my professional career to taking care of the environment. And in this journey, I worked for some of the biggest organizations in the world, like WWF or the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. I worked for the Green Party as well, so I was into environmental politics also. I had very remarkable professional experiences and very important, let's say, but I was not really seeing that I was making real change. I was, doing seemingly very important things, but I wasn't really seeing any changes. So there came a moment in which I discovered non-formal education, and it was love at first sight. The moment I discovered it, I thought, yes, this is the tool that I can use for achieving what I want. So for achieving this awareness of people on the impact that they're having on the planet. So I started to learn more about non-formal education and become a trainer of non-formal education, or better said, using non-formal education. And I ended up feeling ready for creating something of myself, and a structure that could allow me to organize trainings and deliver educational programs based in non-formal education and for sustainable living, basically. So I created Biodiversa in 2011, and it's an organization, it's an NGO. So it's non-profit, it's non-governmental. We started with a group of people. We were formerly actually volunteering for WWF. I was coordinating the group, but then we transformed it into Biodiversa, and yes, that's how we started. And it's been going well. The only thing is that out of the original group of people, I'm the only one left, because a lot of them left the country because of the work situation in Spain, unfortunately. But Biodiversa is still there, and we're still doing great things, and you know about it because you've experienced some of it yourself. It makes me very happy. What I do with Biodiversa makes me really happy, and I really see that I'm making changes. So, very satisfied.
Definitely. I met you in that Live Sustainably training course, and it was so inspiring because I was developing this project with a consciente, but sometimes I thought like, oh, maybe doesn't have such as an importance, or oh, maybe I should stop. But then I met you and Sergio, and also my mom helped me discern
Erica. Yeah.
Erica, and all those amazing people, like from so many different countries, and we were just spreading the seeds in the world. And I thought, well, this is really important. This is value. We really need to do something. And that course, I can say that maybe it was a very, very, how can you say, it was a changing point in my mind. Like from that point, I was sure that it's important to act. And thank you, Esther, because you were the brain of the course, and it was really amazing and inspiring. So great job.
I'm very happy to hear those words, Filipa. Yeah, that's what I do it for. So fantastic, thank you.
So, and I hope that you continue to and repeat that course.
That's the plan.
Exactly. And in that, I don't know, maybe in the third day, you have exposed your iceberg theory. I don't remember the name, but I know that was very like mind-blowing for me, because I didn't, I've never thought about that. Maybe why we are here in this point and what can we do from this point. So if you could share a little bit with the world your theory.
Yes, it's not my theory. It's a theory that I like a lot. I discovered it a couple of years ago. I'm a real fan of learning. Learning is one of my main hobbies, and I'm constantly updating myself on new knowledge, different topics, and mostly everything related to social psychology and how we can influence other people's behaviors and so on. And I came across systems thinking, and this iceberg model that you remember is the iceberg model of systems thinking. So it helps. It really helps understanding behavior and why things happen, why people do what people do. So it's a theory that I like a lot. I made a little drawing like the one you saw in the training, so that it's more visual, and I think it will help people understand. So we see an iceberg here, and as you know, in icebergs only the tip is visible. The rest is just underlying and supporting what you see in the surface. In the surface, you see there's the events. So the events are the things that you can observe, so the things that happen. So, for example, you see people drinking their coffee in single-use coffee cups. Yeah, that's an event that you see, somebody doing that. Underneath the events, there's the pattern level, pattern or trend. So this level helps you identify when an event is just an isolated thing that happens, or when an event is something that happens all the time when certain conditions are present. So that's the pattern level, and it's beneath the events. Events are always supported by the patterns. Under this level, we can find the structure. The structure is how things are formed so that we get those patterns. Mm-hmm. So in the example of the disposable coffee cup, for example, it would be, okay, in a certain place, there's only one use cups available, so that's why people are drinking their coffee out of this disposable cup. So that would be the structure that supports the pattern, that supports the events that we see. Mm-hmm. But what's underneath all this, it's a mental model. It's the way in which we actually believe and perceive things, and our culture, our worldview, actually. So the way in which we perceive ourselves also as a human species in the planet. So in this example, we could think that the mental model beneath this is that we think that we have the right to use the resources and just be comfortable and use the simplest list of things. So it just this is the very simple thing. You take this and then you throw it away when you finish with it. So everything turns around us. There's no one else in the planet, only humans, and the waste goes somewhere else. And it's like this way of thinking that we think that everything has to be at our service. Also what comes with this is this other part. When you want to influence, when you see an event, what you can do with it is you react to it. So you can see somebody with this reusable single-use cup and tell him or her, this is not right because blah, blah, blah. Okay, and you can influence one person in 1 minute maybe or whatever. The next level is the patterns, and what you can do with them once you understand the pattern, you can anticipate. Yeah, you can plan, anticipate, you can forecast. So you maybe in a certain place there's only this type of cup. So I can go there and maybe talk to the place, to the owner of the place, and like that you kind of get a bigger impact. Because you are affecting the pattern, not the single event. If you go even deeper, you have the underlying structure. So you have you can actually design how things are working, like at a bigger level. And for example, design a European policy which forbids the use of single use cups, for example. And like that, you are changing the whole structure. And what is very interesting about systems thinking and this model is that actually structures are responsible for 80 to 90% of the problem. If you put different people in the same structure, the result you get is the same. So if you only have single-use cups, no matter who is there, if you want a coffee, you're gonna get your coffee in a single. Well, maybe not you, not me. I'm just not getting a coffee. But most of the people will just get their coffee in the single-use cup. So the structures are very important. It's really they're responsible for the mess we're in. And what's underneath them is the mental model. That's where you can transform. If you can really manage to transform the mental model, which is beneath all of this structure, this is where you get the real impact, because you are changing people's way of thinking, and then the changes will just happen by themselves, because in the end it's we people that create the structures that lead to the patterns that lead to the single events that we dislike. So
exactly. It's the key of the change. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's because I try to analyze always how can my actions and the things I tell people have a bigger impact. Because we have a limited time here, a limited time to talk to people also. And how can you make the bigger impact? You have to really try to change the mental models. I don't know how. I'm still actually exploring myself. But sometimes only by opening people's eyes about these things, no? Because this is something that many people don't think about. Maybe just by opening the eyes, it's one step closer to the solution.
Exactly, because I remember when you presented that iceberg, I felt at some point powerless, because I was thinking, how can I change and I've done that question. How can I change the big players? We can't do anything. People in that way. But no, if you think the opposite way, if you inspire other people and open their eyes and it will change their mental model, of course. And in that point, I understood that it's really important to make something. It doesn't matter if you do in your personal lifestyle level, or if you want to inspire a community or a country, or but it's I believe that is the way. So we need to explore what really works. Yeah. So thank you for sharing again. It's not it's not your theory, but I think you present in a very personal way. So I really enjoy to hear you. And do you think that we still have to recover our planet, or we have messed up everything enough and we don't have time? What do you believe?
Of course, we are on time. It's always time, because the only time that exists is now. And again, this is the time we have, and we have to do something. It doesn't make any sense to use the only time we have to be irresponsible and to go against or to destroy the same resources that are keeping us alive. So to me, it doesn't make sense at all. So of course we are on time. There's a lot that we can do. Also, I really think that we are privileged in a way at this moment of time, because we are witnessing the third great turning that Joanna Macy talks about. Mm-hmm. Joanna Macy is a very important environmental activist from America. She is one of the big heads of the deep ecology.
Okay. Can you, sir, sorry, can you write the name here on the comments so the other people will see and they can search about?
Of course. This lady, she's a very wise woman. She's 90 years old already. And I really admire her and her books and everything. And she has this theory that there's been three great turnings in the history of humanity. The first great turning was something like 10,000 years ago, when we as a species, we started traveling the planet because we discovered agriculture. So we could settle in one place. And like the whole course of humanity radically changed from that point. That's what a great turning means, like the human life changes radically. The second great turning was in the Industrial Revolution. Everything really changed radically after that. And we are now witnessing the third great turning, in which she believes, and I also believe, that a lot of very small people in different parts of the world, we are getting together and connecting to change the way in which things are being done as a species, and put some intelligence into all this madness, and start realizing that we are what we are, which is another species out of many billions, and we are part of an ecosystem, and we are destroying our support systems, and we should do exactly the opposite, which is take care of them and cooperate.
Exactly. I was just remembering beautiful moments in the course when we were in the circle, sharing our concerns and what we felt around about this time of the history time, and it was in that moment I felt connection with all the planet. With all the people that trying to do something, and I felt part of that movement, and I also believe. Thank you for sharing again. I'm just remembering those beautiful moments. Yes. So we are in the. How did you talk about that? The third hero.
Third great turning.
The third great turning, exactly. Okay.
We're privileged. It's a big challenge, but we are also going to be part of history. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, so let's do something with that time, right? And what do you think, like, if you can choose 3 actions, what do you think that has real impact? What can we do to create an impact, positive impact, of course?
Yes. So, I was also doing quite a lot of research about this because you can't do everything right. It's impossible. No matter how coherent one wants to be, it's impossible to be fully coherent. But I think it's important to try to focus on the things that make the gestures, which being the smallest maybe, they create the bigger impact. So in my personal ranking, out of my personal research, I came to the conclusion that the 3 things are traveling. You probably were expecting this already. The way we travel, sometimes it's very unsustainable. We fly too much, and this causes a big impact with the CO2 emissions. It is a hard thing to do. For me, it is very hard actually, because I work internationally. I wish I could work more just in Spain, where I'm based. But unfortunately, there's not many options here, so I have to travel quite a lot, and it's challenging, because it's not, as you all know, it is not easy to get to places by public transport. I mean, the easiest thing is what we were saying before. Sometimes people go for the easiest, and most of the times, because of the sick mental models that are designing everything, most of the times the easiest ways are the most polluting ways.
Exactly.
So that's a big challenge, and a big thing that we should all really consider. So traveling is one. At least in my personal way of doing things, I absolutely do not take planes if it's under 500 kilometers or 600 kilometers. And then when I travel in the city, I always go either walking or by bicycle. I use bicycle a lot, really a lot. Yes, but each one really has to find his or her own balance. Then the second thing, it would be the nurture, how we eat. Again, it really depends on how much you want to sacrifice yourself and how much you can also have an impact depending on where you live. Because, for example, my approach is I'm not a vegan or vegetarian. I live in a region which is quite rural, and there's a lot of cattle, so cows, which are kept in very wild conditions in the mountains, and these cows are sustaining the livelihoods of the people who are taking care of the landscape and the natural areas. So I consider that in this particular case, it's okay to eat sometimes meat from these cows, because you are really contributing to this landscape being kept as it is. But of course, people who live in a different reality, I don't know, New York, wherever, like many other cities, you are really far away from it. There's really no point in eating meat from a cow which has been raised in big farms, and so it's all subject to as you know, to particular cases and to how you how you decide to do it for yourself. But the thing which is unquestionable is that it's the way we eat has a very important impact. And it's not only about meat or vegetables, it's also about where you buy your things from, if you go to the supermarket or if you go to the local shop. if you are buying things which come from your same region, or if you are buying them, like making them come from Peru or Chile, so the other corner of the planet. All of this has an impact, and it's important to be aware of it and to choose wisely when you go to the shop. Mm-hmm. And the third thing would be to consume less in general. Just own less and be more. Invest in being and in being with people and in in reading, in doing fun stuff, in whatever. But you don't need to buy more goods. We have enough, and it's so much more enjoy the culture of swapping things and sharing things, and maybe if you want to buy second hand, or buy something which will revert into the good livelihood of other people. But the best is really not, to stop this consumption craze.
Definitely. We have already much more objects than people in this planet, so probably we have already produced everything for our generation and the next one and the following ones, and it's quite scary to think about that.
It is, yeah.
And I don't know in Spain, but for example, in Portugal, the swap markets where you have second-hand third-hand things, they are starting to appear, but before it was linked with, for example, poor people. Only poor people would have a second-hand thing, or it's not very trendy. It now, of course, starts to be, and people, they are aware, and they don't associate that. But I would say before they had a kind of a stigma around that, because and that's a problem when we have that type of stigma, but because we are not considering all the factors that are around buying a new thing, a pretty new thing, and I'm happy to see this transition now.
Yeah, it's very similar to the case in Spain. Actually, it's years ago there weren't any shops, any second-hand shops, and now a few years ago they started. And it's the same thing. People were saying like, "Oh no, I'm not buying secondhand. I'm gonna be considered poor, or that I don't have enough for buying firsthand." But actually, it's interesting to see how a lot of shops are starting to play a bit with trendiness and this hipster style, and they are starting to make secondhand cool. And so you see more and more people, going in the shops because the shops look nice. They play nice music inside. So I think we're getting there. It's a slow process, but we're getting there.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see that. And other point, I'm happy that you have focused 3 points that we can control. So how we travel, what we eat, and what we buy. And I also believe that is the big change to make. Each personal change, each personal choice will change everything. We are I'm not just me or you, billions and billions of people choosing everything every day.
Exactly. We can say, society or whatever, but society is us. It's composed by individuals, and we can change it. Even if we change ourselves, and we are, I don't know, sure of what we do, and we're confident and believe in it. People in the end, they take us as role models, and they say, okay, this is cool. She's doing this, and it's working for her, and and she's happy. She doesn't have the newest whatever thing, but she's very happy. So like that, people start realizing that happiness is not in what you buy, but it's somewhere else.
Definitely. And to in each eco talk that I do, in the end, I always ask this question, and people they say that it's very difficult because I will ask you, what do you expect for our planet in the next 10, 20 years? How do you think that we will live in the following years? What are your expectations about that?
So for me, it's not that hard actually, the question, because I have this dream very, very clear and vivid in my head, and I don't know if I'm seeing the future or what, but I'm seeing the future that I would like to see. And it would be one based on cooperation and love and awareness of our interconnectedness. And this is where I see us going. Actually, I truly see this progression, and I hope we will get there. There's not many other options really. Like if we keep competing and stepping on each other's heads, we're gonna be unhappy and we're all going to lose. The only way in which we can all win is if we cooperate.
Wonderful.
Yes, that's just my dream planet 10 years from now. But actually, already now, I want to see it like that, and I can see it like that. Really, there's a lot of good people out there cooperating for a better present.
Definitely. Well, that was the coolest answer that I have received.
I'm happy to hear that.
In the previous week, someone was saying that if we have a dream, it seems very distant. That it's almost that you couldn't achieve because it's a dream. But I don't feel like that. I need to dream. I really need that, so we can envision the future and we can go. We get a direction, right? What do you feel?
Of course, if you think about it, the thing that keeps us going is hope. Hope for things to be better and for things to be fantastic. So how do we sustain that hope? By believing that our dream future is possible. So it is very healthy to dream of that. We also there's a lot of people, I hear it all the time recently, that if you think that something is real, it becomes real. Because every single action and thing that you do is going to be orientated to make that happen. And you're not going to let any opportunity pass to make that happen. So really, it's good to think big, and it's good to dream. It really keeps us motivated, and it gives us strength to do things for achieving it.
Definitely. I was remembering, maybe it was the last activity that we did in the course, where we had the eco competencies. We need to build eco competent being. And I don't know if we list that topic, but I think to be eco competent, we need to be able to dream as well, to see things in a different way, in a different perspective. Like the crowd is going to that point, but we need to see the other point, and
Absolutely, it's basic for prototyping the future. Yes.
So cool. Let's dream together. Esther, well, it's always very inspiring to talk with you. It's really cool. And I don't know if you have something else that you would like to say, because this video I will record this, and I will keep that on YouTube, so people, they still can see the video. So if you want to complete, or
yeah, just people believe in your power, because we really have a big power, each one of us, to change. Even if you just change yourself, you've done a lot, and you're gonna create a big impact. So yes, really believe in yourself. And also, I want to thank your followers for for coping with this talk in English, because I believe normally it's in Portuguese. So, and also thank you. I mainly want to thank you, Filipa, for the great job that you are doing as an eco warrior. And, it's been a pleasure to be one of your objects of study in this eco talk.
of course, thank you a lot, Esther. Well, actually, it's a challenge to talk in English, but with you it's easy. I don't know, but at the first time I was a bit scared, like, oh, I need to talk in English live, but it's okay. It's okay.
You do it great.
So, Esther, again, thank you so much. Hope to stay connected with you and with all the group, because it was a real family that we created there. I don't know if we will be all together again, but at least we created that connection. And keep going with your beautiful job.
Thank you. You too. If anybody wants to get in touch with me for any training, service, or whatever, well, they can contact you, I guess. Yes.
Exactly, and I will share the contacts. So, Esther, a big hug to. Are you in Asturias at the point at this point? Okay.
Yes, I'm at home.
So cool.
I see, and with the mountains at the back.
Oh,
Lovely place.
Well, I really need to return, and a big hug from North Portugal to Asturias.
A big hug to you, Filipa. And thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. Bye. Bye. Bye.